Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Anthony with Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show. I am so excited today because I have a fantastic doctor, Dr. Danny DeRuiter, and you can also find him at DannyDeRuiter.com. We also have Natural Life Dalton.com.
NaturalLifeDalton.com. Yes, it's my office.
Awesome. And so again, thank you so much for being here. Everybody in the world, I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you to smash that like button. I need you to syndicate it online. Why? Because one video can save one person's life. So especially today, we have a topic that is very dear to not just my heart, but the world's hearts. So today, as you see the topic, it says COVID shot will help your immune system. Here is why. Well, here's the cool thing. We're going to talk about why it's not. So thank you so much, Doctor, for being here on the show. Before we get into this whole COVID thing, tell us a little bit about yourself and about how you got into chiropractic. And
well, I used to be a restaurant manager for a fast food joint, and I fell off. I was telling one of my employees to put up the special on the sign, on the big sign, and they weren't doing a good job, and I got frustrated, and I said, well, I got to do it myself. And I climbed up there, and I fell off. And when I landed, I guess I landed on my ribs. I couldn't breathe, and I'm screaming, yelling for someone to call 911. And one of the girls that worked for me, she would go to this old guy around the corner, and she's like, well, my chiropractor's right around the corner. I can call him to see if he'll see you. And I'm like, whatever, call. And she called, and the guy's like, oh, I'll wait for you. And it was about 6:37 p.m. So I'm like, what kind of doctor will sit around, wait for one guy to come see him? I'm like, okay, but I went. Very nice old guy. He got me out of pain almost immediately, and I kept seeing him. And I remember he would do these weird things, and he'd tell me, you have a problem with your adrenal glands. I'm like, what the hell is an adrenal gland? And how do you know? How could you possibly know? And so, and I almost had a what would you call a religious experience. I remember sitting there, and I get emotional when I talk about this, because it's real, it's close to my heart. And I remember him. I remember just watching him work, and I thought to myself, I'm like, that would be the coolest job in the world. And I said I remember I was like, I would love to do that. And out of my body, I heard a voice that said, well, why don't you? And it scared the hell out of me.
Wow.
And so I was very quiet. I managed to get out of the office without, saying anything. And back in those days, you had to go to the library to do any research. You couldn't. Yeah. We didn't have the internet. That was in the 94.
90s, yeah.
So I went to the library, and I did my research. I found some schools that were within the radius of I was from Miami, within the radius, and applied, and I got accepted. And the next thing I know, I'm loading up a U-Haul to go without just, because I knew that I had found something that I didn't know I was going to be good at it, but something that I had passion for.
Right. So that was basically, that's how you became a chiropractor.
That's how I became a chiropractor. And I had always been interested in natural health, but I didn't know why. I was always interested in vitamins. And I remember my dad had an ulcer when I was young, and just through diet and whatever, my dad, took care of it. So, and, fast forward many years later, I went to my medical doctor, and he's told me I had an ulcer. I'm like, okay, doc, what do I have to, give me my plan, my diet. What do I have to do? He's like, what? Yeah, my diet. He just gave me a prescription for Zantac. And I thought that was just very different than what I had seen before. And didn't make sense to me. So I remember I got it filled, but I wasn't happy with what happened. So, I guess stress management and whatever, and I took care of it. So I was always looking for the more natural less medication alternative.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm in the right field.
Oh, exactly. Wow. So how long have you been a chiropractor?
About 22, 23 years.
Wow.
I can't believe it's been that long.
That's amazing.
So yeah.
I'm curious now. It's stuck in my head,
Yeah.
so I have to say it. When the lady was putting trying to put the food or on the billboard, what did you want her to put on? Did she not put something on there correctly? What food was?
Yeah, it was two kids, and they were just kind of joking around and ha 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 and messing up, really not doing it right. And I'm like, okay, let's be more efficient, guys. Come on, let's put it up. And so finally I got upset, and I was a different kind of person also. I remember I was just get so mad I would throw things, and now I'm like, that's a different guy. That's
Especially
somebody.
the restaurant business. Same here. I've been in the restaurant business.
Right. So it's high intensity and so it's very different. And now people always tell me, I'm like, you seem so relaxed. You seem so, your office is so pleasant to come into. You have music playing. So, I mean, it's the complete opposite from that guy that I was.
Wow. That's awesome. So I still have to ask that question. Do you remember what food was it you were trying to have him put up there?
I think it was a Wendy's double or something like that. I was working for Wendy's at the time.
Wendy's.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's a fast-paced restaurant, man. Oh man.
Oh yeah. But I worked at a bunch of them, so I have a whole fast food past.
Yeah, I worked at Taco Bell
for
2 months.
Did you? I've never worked at Taco Bell, but I have brought that. People are like, okay, we have a menu. Why do you have a menu on your?
I love it.
Well, it's what we have, what we offer, and there's no hidden anything. It's like, these are our prices, man.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree. You should walk into the emergency room and know, walking in this door is going to cost me $800 just for walking in.
And if you can't afford it, you got a value menu, right?
Exactly.
You don't leave any money on the table. But anyways, that's another thing. So I was very intrigued with your post. I love your posts. I love your page. I guess maybe you're drawn to your own personality. That's how I am. And so I know that, we're talking about the whole COVID shot and, about the immune system. What would you say as a recommendation for someone that wants to get the COVID shot because they think that that's going to help their immune system?
Well, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't, from my own personal point of view, research it, please. You don't want listen, most vaccines take years and years and years to develop. Years. Okay. And by the way, we have a fund that pays people that are injured from those shots that have taken years to develop and many trials but people still get injured from those. And now we have a vaccine that miraculously in 4 or 5 months we came up with, and it's supposed to be effective. I think there needs to be a lot more testing before they put it in you. So if anybody wants to take my spot in line, go right ahead.
It's funny, you and I were talking, and I was letting you know that I was getting my haircut done about a week ago, and this lady that was cutting my hair, we were talking, and somehow it got brought up, and she said, yeah, I went and got my COVID shot. I'm like, oh, wow. How well did that work? She goes, well, it almost killed me. And I said, I go, come again? What do you mean? I go, I thought it's supposed to help you, I'm just listening. She goes, well, I took it that day and I was fine. And then about 3 o'clock in the morning, I started convulsing and breaking out in bad sweat. And I felt like I was going to die. If it wasn't for my son to get me to the hospital at 3 in the morning, I would have died. And it really made me think how I feel that, and I'm saying this without treading. When the government says they're going to give me something to help me, I would rather go to the natural doctors that focus on helping you with you know, taking your vitamin D, you're exercising, that strengthens your immune system and what you eat. And
Absolutely.
It scares me when that's just one person, but when you see people that are getting Bell's palsy from this, and at least the government,
I wish that
4 people, 30,000 people, 4 people get it, you know, only say, you know.
But I wish that was I wish that was a surprise to me, what you just said. I hear it. I've heard it in my office. Doc, so-and-so that had the shot, they're not doing very well. And then from personal experience, I have a couple people that had bad reactions to it. They didn't have to be hospitalized, but they had pretty severe reactions to the vaccine. So I don't think it's ready for prime time, to be honest with you. I really don't. So just be careful what you put in your arms, just like anything else. You're here. You should consider your body as your temple, and don't pollute it with just crap. And you don't even know what's in there, and they don't even tell you what's in there. So do your due diligence and research it. And if you do research, you're going to find out, I don't want that stuff in me.
It's weird, and I'm not trying to be mean to the people, and not, I'm going to use the word common sense. I feel like certain things are common sense. Like, example, you and I were talking, and I said, what about, I remember, because I have 2 kids, and I remember they would tell me, hey, you want to make sure that, once your baby gets sick, it'll get stronger and build stronger immunity to it, and no longer. It should be kind of the same way, which is interesting. And we have more people that are dying from the flu than this. So I'm
not this year.
Huh?
Not this year.
Not this year?
We're not losing anybody to the flu this year. Everybody's.
No, we're not. Actually, cancer went away too. Anyway, so I had to do that.
Exactly.
No, seriously, cancer went away. I think a whole bunch of diseases went away.
They all dropped.
They all dropped.
Heart disease. Yeah.
Well, you know why, right?
Everything's being lumped into COVID.
Well, if you bang your foot and you go to the hospital and they cut your foot off, it was COVID.
Absolutely.
I have to say this. Check it out. I went to the doctors. No joke, no jive. I went to the doctors because of my eyes, and I had to stay the night there. They had to do tests and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This was the beginning of COVID, the first 6-7 months. Wish I could make this up, but I can't. So I'm there. I'm hanging out, just chilling, have my cup of coffee. And I'm making friends with the nurse. And I say to the nurse, I go, I see all these red tape that says, up top floor, we have COVID people. And I go, man, you guys must have a lot of COVID people in there. And then she looked at me, she looked around. She goes, I'm not supposed to say this, but we don't have anybody up there. I go, but it says the tape. She goes, yeah, I can do my job, but I don't care anymore. It's the truth. She goes, we don't keep COVID people in the hospital. We just say that.
Oh, wow.
Nobody wants to talk about it. It's like the pink elephant in the room.
And then I know nurses, and go ahead. I'm sorry. I know nurses.
Go ahead.
I know nurses that tell me the same thing. That, you read in the paper, you're like, my gosh, look at the cases in the county. They're ridiculous. It's like, well, we have 4. I'm like, what? Only 4? Yeah. And stuff like that. Now I suppose things are a little busier, but I honestly I haven't checked, and it's not one of the things that I try not to dwell on that. I'm the guy that's like, listen, let's look for the positive side. Let's work on your immunity. Let's give you some vitamins. Let's vitamin D. You want quercetin. You want zinc. If you got that, you're probably better off than taking a vaccine anyway. Just from those 3 supplements. So
what if they actually said what was in it though? Like if they said we have vitamin D. We have all these supplements that are good for you, but then they wouldn't want to do that because then all the doctors would be giving IV drops. I mean, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with you. It's sad that you never ever hear about how to improve your immunity. Everything is how to avoid the germ. And I'm always, they're like, Doc, you always have these analogies and quick sayings, but it's not the seed, it is the soil. So you could have all kinds of yucky stuff out there, but if you keep the soil from being conducive to growing all these things, you're going to be fine.
There's so much wisdom in just that saying, because that goes with everything. I mean,
That goes with everything.
What you put in your mind, what you're letting your ears hear, because what's from the mind, the eyes to the heart, it's all together. And that's which goes to the topic. Remember the video that you saw was I was feeling a little under the weather that one day, and I was like very tired, and someone in the office said, maybe it is COVID. Maybe it's one of the symptoms of COVID. That is fatigue. So I started thinking, I'm like, okay, well, listen, if I do have it, I don't want to be in the office for, I'm trying to be a responsible human being and not, so I went to get tested. And as soon as I walked into the facility, you start seeing all these, people with masks and everything, all the fancy equipment and even just the vibe in the place is almost like they're scared of everything. Yeah.
There's fear, and it's palpable fear. It's like everywhere. And you walk in, and immediately, like, I started feeling my throat close up, and I started getting shakes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really do have it. And then I caught myself. I said, well, look, you're just buying into all this stuff and all this energy from these people that it's very negative. So I started talking to my subconscious, because it's subconscious controls everything. You have your conscious mind, and then you have your unconscious mind that's running this show. Okay. So my heart, I don't have to tell my heart to beat. Part of my brain is doing that. But I have to communicate to that part of my brain that, hey, listen, you know what? You're not sick. Don't buy into this stuff. Then the way I talk to myself is like, hey, subconscious, you have the best immune system. It's amazing. You're Wolverine. You heal immediately. You're amazing. And as I'm doing that, I realize, you know what? My throat is clear. I feel fine. Actually, I feel great. I should have done that from the very beginning and just given myself a talk and snap out of it. And but I stayed around. I waited for my test, and of course, it came back negative. And I had to have the rapid test because I wasn't gonna, they had a bunch of testing that was 3 to 5 days. I'm like, well, if I'm positive, I can go back to work. I need to know right now. So when I got my results, they come out again, and the guy's like, well, it was negative, but you want to take another one? And then, I'm like, what?
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah, I was like, we'll take another one, and this one will take 3 to 5 days. But I'm like, no, I'm out of here. And I left, and I went, and I went to work. And again, had I let it kind of, who knows what would have happened? Maybe I got sick, and 3 days later I would tested positive. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. Do you remember Napoleon Hill, right? I'm sure you.
Sure. Think and Grow Rich.
And it's funny. I've probably listened to the audio maybe 150 times. No joke. Because I always get something fresh out of it. And it's so interesting. I love what he says. It's strict from the book of Proverbs, but what you think is what you become. And that's exactly what's happening. And what's sad is that we have so many people that are following the trend and saying, you know what, the government's going to take care of me. But what's sad about that would be true if we actually had a constitution that worked.
Right.
I hate to say that, probably.
But let me tell you something. As chiropractors, as healthcare providers, we have to be careful what we tell the patient.
Yeah.
Because if and if I come up with a sad, and by the way, some practice management groups, tell you to do this thing, come out with a sad face. And this was taught to me, by the way, come out with a sad face, look at the x-rays and pat their hand and say, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, Mrs. So-and-so, but your spine is a mess. And, basically it's called, and that is called, it's just a shady practice. I think we have to give people a positive outcome. You have, and the doctor actually has to visualize a positive outcome so that there's something for them to grasp on, and actually you can pull them through and change their mindset so they can be healthy. And a lot of these, have you heard of the drug, when they do drug trials for new drugs, they say, well, the drug does this and it doesn't have side effects, and the placebo is almost as good as the drug, obviously with no side effects. Right. So, but once it's okay, the placebo is almost good as the drug, and then they discount that. There's like, okay, well, that's it, and that's done with. Mm-hmm. But that's a thing. If the placebo is as good as a drug, why don't we focus on teaching people how to, get that mindset so that the placebo, believing that something was going to help you, or really getting to your mind, it's going to transform your health for the positive, instead of ingesting something that may have adverse side effects. When all you got to do is just flip the switch, and you can get healthy.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick. Why do you think it's hard for people to flip the switch?
Well, number one, the drug companies, listen, everything that you see is that you are fragile and you're about to, if you don't have this drug, you're going to have some serious problems. Everything, you turn on the TV, everything is, listen, your body is so fragile. You're right. so sensitive. Food sensitivities, oh my gosh, you can't eat this, don't do this. Listen, if the human race has survived thousands of years, and all of a sudden we're very fragile. Before, somebody's going to say, well, the average lifespan was 35 years old. Yes, but you know what? We didn't have running water. We didn't have basic sanitation. Disease was rampant. And, obviously you could say, well, they should have thought positive, but what it is there were a lot of factors affecting the mortality rates back then. And we've improved things, but they give all the credit to the modern medicine. And let me tell you something, modern medicine still has no idea what healing is. All they do is throw drugs at an issue. If it doesn't kill you, it gets approved, and it's, then you see a commercial telling you how much you need this drug. That's the way it is.
I don't know the number, but I'm sure you do. Isn't it 60,000 people a year die from just drugs that are over the counter? I think it's 60,000.
Well, medical errors in total is about 200,000 people a year. And listen, this is, we know we screwed up.
Okay.
This is like, okay, hey, I admit we screwed up. We killed this guy. That's not counting. Oh, it's God's will. Oh, he was old anyway.
This is God's will. Oh boy.
Yeah. He had an underlying condition,
right.
and there's basically, listen, for what I would tell you, if you have a senior citizen in your family, somebody elderly, do everything you can keep them out of the hospital, because once they get their meat hooks into them, they're done.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say. And it sounds like I'm anti-medicine. I'm not. There is a place for that. Like I always tell somebody, if
a car accident, of course.
Exactly. Don't take me to the chiropractor. I'll go to the chiropractor soon enough.
But if you have neuropathy, come on, you don't need to go there. Just food.
Exactly.
Get the blood flow going.
Now let me tell you something. We need a chiropractor in every hospital, in every emergency room. I think that's.
You got a plural that
Do you
one,
know
man.
how many people? Yeah. Do you know how many people I see that, chest pains? Let's take chest pains for instance.
Right.
I mean, this is a moneymaker for a hospital because you have chest pain. You walk in, they'll do 50 tests soon, right off the bat. 15, 20 grand. You're
Right.
in there, whatever. Ching. I get those same people. It's like, I had chest pain. I went to the doctor and they did a bunch of tests. And I'm like, you know what? You have a rib out of place. That's why you're short of breath. That's why your chest hurts. That's why I'm having a heart. No, you're not having a heart attack. You have a rib out of place and you're short of breath. Your chest hurts and you have pain down your arm. Everything, simple adjustment, everything gone. Now, I mean, I'd rather not see people like having a mid myocardial infarction walk in the door. I've had that happen. It wasn't a myocardial infarction. Oh, I'm sorry. I turned off my phone, but the other gadget was on. That's what I'm saying. We should probably have some sort of gatekeeper for, how they always say they have a gatekeeper for us. We should be the gatekeeper for them. And it's like, okay, this is not a chiropractic patient. They need to go there. This is a chiropractic patient. We could take care of that. And ultimately we're cheaper. And honestly, we're more effective. I don't think anybody walks out and, okay, people, it's going to sound like I have a huge, huge ego. Nobody walks out of my office worse. I mean, that does sound kind of a little, nobody.
I don't think it does. I think
our satisfaction index is super high.
Right.
And how was your experience last time you went to the emergency room?
Oh my!
Every single time I've gone, it's terrible. So, somebody's not doing something right, and somebody is. So, healthcare in this country is upside down, I think. But then again, that's my little soapbox. I'm sorry.
No, but it's the truth. So, my story was, I had a slip disc years ago, and this is one of the reasons why I'm passionate about this. Is I had a slip disc years ago. I was out of work for almost a year. The doctors. I feel like I was getting worse and worse. I was going to their therapy programs and doing the weights and getting worse. And all of a sudden, my friend said, "You really should go to a chiropractor." And I'm like, "Really? Okay, whatever." But at the time, I was like, "I'll try anything. I don't even care." I go to a chiropractor. He adjusts me. I'm like, "Damn, okay, I feel pretty good." And then he goes, "All right, that's not going to heal you right away. What I want you to do, Mark, is I want you to come see me, just like a tune-up. I want you to come twice a month. And then while you're coming twice a month, I want you to start doing swimming laps every morning because it's going to strengthen your core." Brother, I became a believer. I was baptized. Let me tell you something. I got up, my slip disc, no more pain. Still to this day, don't. I mean, that was over a decade ago. But my point is that it showed me like, wow, these guys know something. But what's very interesting is we don't realize that when our body's not working, that we have to understand that our cars are our vehicle. This is our car. And we need oil changes. And if we don't get an oil change, it starts to run sluggish. And that's why we need chiropractors. I need to get adjusted at least the minimum, at least once to twice a month for me. I know right now I need to get adjusted. I already know right now. I mean, I prolonged it a little bit. So, but my point is, I know I need to get adjusted because I know my body now. And what's interesting is we're going to continue to see doctors if we don't focus on our health, meaning our food that we intake. A lot of people don't talk about the food that's hurting us, So what's your intake on, since we're still talking about the immune system, like what do you do for somebody that's going to to see you as a chiropractor? Do you just crack them, throw them against the wall, and then we're done? I mean, how does that look if I were to be a patient?
For my office, I have a busy office, and I don't. I will, and I work very. People tell me it's like you're very intuitive or whatever it is. So basically I will get a general feel for somebody. It's like, okay, this person, obviously there's the structural issue. And of course, we will take care of that. Sometimes there's a issue with weight or with diet, and it's very obvious. And I will, hey, you know what, you probably should do this. But a lot of people are very, especially in our field, they're very militant about, you got to eat this, or you got to do that, you got to do that. I'm more of a, the body is dynamic. And your body, that may not agree with your body, but a healthy functioning nervous system will know how to take care of that.
Bingo.
That lasagna that you had that didn't agree with you.
It bounces back.
You should bounce back. Okay.
Right.
And everybody, you can go back, but basically you want to stay in the homeostasis right in the middle there. So I am not as militant as everybody, because if you follow me around, you'd probably be surprised at what I put in my mouth.
I just had a burger and fries.
Well, there you go. There you go. So I am not. I have been a vegetarian in the past. I have been a pescatarian in the past. I've tried the gluten-free. Again, it's not an issue. I personally think there's some things that you should probably avoid. But you know what? Once every now and then, it's not going to kill you.
Exactly. Hey, and that's okay to get a Frosty at Wendy's.
Absolutely.
Frosty at Wendy's is the best French fries, I have to tell you.
Well, I never got into that, but my daughter loves that. My daughter's like, she will dip a fry in there at a moment's notice. But I never like, oh, that's gross. But yeah, man, I think I don't counsel people on necessarily on what to eat. My office is located within a health food store, believe it or not. Wow. So, and the reason we did that is a lot of people will not will never set foot in a chiropractic office. They'll go to visit a health food store though. And when they walk in, you see them, they're like, what is this? And we're open. We have open adjusting. And if you walk in to buy a vitamin D, and you'll see people lined up to get adjusted, and that will plant a seed, if nothing else. I don't care. We don't.
Health food is chiropractic. I mean,
exactly.
I would have fun with that.
Yeah. All we do is plant a little seed in there, and then people will, and I see them because I'm out there adjusting, and I feel like I'm on stage when I'm out there, because I'm adjusting, talking to people. I know people listen. I know my voice carries, and that's we always try to talk positive. That your nervous system is what controls everything, and you need to have a free and clear nervous system, and everything kind of falls into place after that. Mm-hmm. So you can have your little bit of, you can have your burger and the fries and the Frosty, but you probably shouldn't do that every day. The soil is depleted these days. So how they used to say an apple a day keeps a doctor away. It takes 4 apples now.
Wow.
4 apples have the same nutrients. Like that saying was coined in the 40s. It takes 4 apples now for a 1940s apple. So there you go. So 4 apples a day keeps a doctor away. So
it's a bummer.
So yeah, but so that's what I said. Like, the soils are depleted, so you're not getting all your nutrients from the food you eat. Okay, even if you ate your five servings of fruits and vegetables, you're probably not getting what you need. So you need to supplement certain things.
Right.
And that's why I tell myself, like, look, over there's, grab one of these and grab one of that, and, or whatever, or get it wherever you want. Right. Hopefully you don't get it on Amazon, because we're a small business, but here we are, man. So I counsel them, and sometimes it's an emotional issue. And there's a couple techniques that I use. And as a matter of fact, this morning, saw a patient, and actually it was yesterday morning, and I had my assistant, my associate, was there, and And I looked at her and I said, well, how are you? I told her, how are you doing? She's like, oh, fine. And she went face down, and I looked at my associate. I'm like, she's not fine. And I pointed to we have a little emotion chart, and I pointed at that. And sure enough, and she got an adjustment. She got a regular adjustment, but she needed a little extra. She needed a little bit of okay, you know what? You're holding on to this. Let's deal with that. And so we do that so to make sure that you keep your great adjustment that you got. We'll do a little bit of work on the motions to make sure that you keep that.
Let's talk about that. You said you're holding on to, when you said you're holding on to this, what did that mean?
Well, she just talking about it. There was a little bit of she was feeling a little bit of worry about her son. Her son was having a medical procedure, and she was just stressed out and scared. So I said, well, let's so I talked to her. I basically just talked to her.
So it was affecting her body, basically.
Right. You're scared. Of course everything is tight. So, there's a couple of things that I do, technique-wise to clear emotions, but even just talking to somebody, just like, hey, listen, I know you're worried. My God, it's your son and he's in the hospital. Oh my gosh. Well, listen, let's sit here for a second. Number one, I feel for you. I'm like, you're doing amazingly right now. You're here. And just that was an interaction, maybe a minute and a half, changed her. It completely changed her.
Right now, because we're losing that slowly. It feels that way.
Sure.
We need that.
But we also need to teach a profession that too. Because
I love that. Exactly.
Because there's a lot of, there's always the newest thing.
Yes.
But a lot of these, and I was always a young guy in the room. Now it seems like I'm the old guy in the room. Mm-hmm. But as the old guy in the room right now, I think we need to bring that back and teach basic compassion. And listen, but I'm compassionate, but I'm not. And a lot of people, I'm not very. We don't let people get away with, oh, this hurts. I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Y'all don't take it to another level, okay?
Well, and people can call me a little bit callous sometimes because I'm like, like, okay.
But there's a time for that.
Yeah, are you done complaining? Let's fix this. Lay on the table. And it's like, but don't you want to hear? I'm like, I don't need to hear your whole life story to know that I can see your spine and it's in bad shape. Let's get you on the table. Let's get you adjusted. And that's how I move them through. And the more we dwell on this, the more we and everybody has their story. Everybody wants to tell their story. But good Lord, I mean, I have a busy office and we're open. I don't want to hear about your hemorrhoids. I don't think everybody needs to hear about your hemorrhoids.
Oh boy, you're making me laugh. You're like, here's some cream. Now let's refocus.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, I get it. You know what? Your hemorrhoid is going to work better if your nervous system is clear. Let's get on the table.
Let's talk about more about your office. Do you help out with neuropathy? What do you do? Laser? What tell us?
I do not do. I use an instrument. I use these, and I use an arthrostim. I have activator, of course, but I basically use arthrostim and drop tables. That's it. I have two other associates, and they pretty much basically do the same. We're a very high touch, low tech kind of thing. The only thing that's probably different is the little bit now. And when somebody comes in to see me, they're surprised at everything we do. I don't take X-rays in my office, really. So when obviously, if you've fallen off a second-story building onto your head, then we will send you to get X-rays.
Okay.
But usually, when you walk in, it's been a couple of weeks from a car accident. You've got your X-rays taken. We're good. We're good. and I don't usually take x-rays, but we analyze the whole body. And even like, okay, it's just my wrist, doc.
I got
like,
you.
whatever. We're going to give you a good adjustment, and then we're going to take a look at your wrist, because something in your spine, in your skeleton may be affecting what's happening with the wrist. And I adjust extremities. We have the women that love getting their feet worked on, and apparently that's a thing.
Really? That's a thing?
Oh, that's the thing.
Wait. How much time do you guys spend on the feet?
I mean, I just do a quick, I'll check the ankles, check
the movement. We're getting a massage here. I got it. Guys getting too excited.
But it is a thing. It's women of a certain age that is like, oh my gosh, it's the most amazing thing. I'm like, lady, I'm just getting some movement into your foot. Of course the foot hurt. Of course you have plantar fasciitis because the structure of this foot is dreadful. So let's, once you've got great movement in this foot, come on, let's see you walk. And they're like, oh, this is amazing. But I don't think there's anything amazing in what we do. I mean, the human body's amazing, and I'm just happy to facilitate it to work a little better. But I don't think what I do is necessarily magical. Sometimes you feel like I have to. It almost feels like if you feel like I am a wizard, you're going to heal better. I'll be a wizard for you, whatever, But let's get you better, and stop whining, and let's get you better.
I love it. What would you say 90% of your businesses, would you say it's knee pain, back pain, pinky toe pain? What?
Well, everybody walks in with back pain, but the average, but the more and more we work, I'll see a bunch of plantar fasciitis patients.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, well, why are you working on my neck? Everybody gets their neck adjusted. Everybody gets whatever you need. We'll work on your feet. But, and I get a lot of we live in a blue collar, my office is in a blue collar town. So there's a lot of repetitive, shoulders, elbows, that kind of stuff. And we work on that. It's a lot of chiropractors, no, we only do the spine. You know what? And again, a big Hispanic population, I speak Spanish, and a lot of people, if they don't see me for that problem, they're not going to see anybody else. So It's either me or nothing. So I accept the responsibility. I mean, if in the early days when I first opened, I would get people that come in with a piece of bone sticking out of there. I'm like, you know what? I'm good, but I'm not that good. So you need to go to the emergency room and take care of it. But they saw me like that.
Right.
So, and it's almost like you have to take on that responsibility. You're like, okay, if you see me that way, I got to know how to adjust your foot. I got to know how to adjust your knee. I got to know, shoulders, pretty much everything. And I almost self-taught, because I have to figure it out. I don't know. No one ever told me how to do this, but here's a live person in front of me in pain that wants help. And if it's not me, they're not going to get any help.
Right. I like that.
So that's I took it as a big responsibility. So I had to learn. So I, go and learn more just for, value. So I feel like I can give you what you expect from me.
I'm sure that bothers you as a doctor if you cannot figure something out. I bet it just
sure.
Sure. I need to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't, and a lot of times it's not even about figuring. You'd be surprised how little goes on up here while I'm in practice, while I'm working.
Right.
It's almost like if you're in the flow, you like, oh, I need to check your right hip. Where'd that come from? Whatever. Let's go. Let's check your right hip. And that I think comes from being around longer than the other guy, just from seeing this so much. I have, I'm the old guy in the room now, and it's, 23 years of experience doing this. Yeah, I know my way around the spine. I know, it's, you're very attractive, but there's nothing I haven't seen. I've seen, I know my way around the spine. You're nothing special.
Right. Okay.
And that's kind of the attitude that I have. And some people are like, well, don't you want to hear how it happened? No, I don't necessarily need to know all that.
I'll tell you the story.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to tell me later, or you know what, you can tell my assistant right there. And so, and sometimes, you know what? Sometimes they need to tell, just they'll feel better just telling. But, you know, I might not necessarily have the patience to listen to the whole story from when you were 5 years old and you fell off that bike.
Those are the best
So,
people. And I'll tell
yeah.
you know why? I tell you what, they're the best people. Like, look, I want to hear your story, but I want to hear your story right now on video, telling a testimonial of how you
Okay.
much pain and you are out. I'm pushing record.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I'm just saying, because what I've learned, at least for me, is that hearing it and seeing it with my eyes, seeing if I saw a video and someone saying, you know what, Dr. Johnson down the street, I had a, plantar fasciitis, and now no longer, I don't have it in me. You know, I'm just saying that makes me want to go to that.
Oh, it's from their point of view, from like, it's emotional. Like,
Yes.
all right, come on, tell me,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I could hardly walk. Oh my gosh. You know what? And, you know, I have told people, like, okay, listen, once this pain goes away, what are you going to talk about? Because that's the seams that, oh, that's all you talk about. And then I've adjusted people and they're like, but my lower back, I'm like, wait a second. We just got off the table. Okay, I want you to move. You haven't even, you're immediately telling me that your low back hurts and you have not tried out your back. So come on, stand up. Tell me what you feel. Oh, okay. Now is it okay? Yes. But immediately they were going to snap into that, you know, it still hurts. You didn't try it out. Try it out. Oh, okay. It's better. And that's how you have to kind of, I think a lot of my client, and I don't like calling patients, my clients, they'll just like, okay, he doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear a whole life story. He doesn't, they coach them before they come in. They're like, okay, you know, like the soup Nazi kind of thing. Just get your food. Yeah. Get your food and go through. But, just because I don't necessarily want to hear the whole thing doesn't mean I don't have compassion for you. As a matter of fact, I have, and this is what I really feel, I have so much compassion that I don't want you to suffer for 1 second more. So why don't you shut your mouth and let's get you fixed, man? Because you're sitting there suffering, wallowing in your self-pity. Come on, let's get to work. Let's get to work. Let's get you better. And after a while, you kind of will pull them through, and they get it. They get it. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I'm a tyrant, like, you know.
But most of that's psychological, like what you were saying. You know?
It is psycho. It is you have to get into people's heads and kind of and reframe. And you can see it just by body language, because you have the older. And I've told you, I live in a small town, and well, it's a medium-sized city. That's and very blue collar. So some people come in with certain attitudes, and
right.
I heard you can help my back, and that's, like, okay. But let's bring you into the whole process, because you just want me to just wave my hand and fix you. Exactly. But let's bring you in, and like, okay, this is tender and this is why, and let me show you this. You didn't know you had a knee issue here. So we work with them, and so you bring them into the whole process, and that's how they start to realize that it didn't just happen overnight. It didn't, it's a lifestyle thing. And and I think a good chiropractor, a good doctor in general, it doesn't necessarily have to be a chiropractor, has to be able to know where you're at.
I agree.
And redirect you where you need to be.
Mm-hmm. Right. I bet when they come in like this, you're like, all right, so what's going on?
Yeah. And that's it. And it's, what's up? What's going on?
And that breaks the ice.
Yeah. And very direct, very to the point. And sometimes that's because they expect they've been everywhere. That's the thing. They have been everywhere. And this is just one more place that's not really going to help them, whatever, because I just want my wife to shut up about it. So that's why I came. So they're like,
right.
And if you're like, okay, well, so what's up? Okay, this is why. All right. All right. So lay down and just walk them through. And this is what's going on. You feel that. Okay. And all of a sudden you bring them into it and hopefully you made a good change.
I like that. I always like to hear other doctors because everyone's very different. It's never just the same. You
Right.
know, I wanted to swing around, just kind of like swinging around talking about the immunity. About the immune system? What would you say are three main things that people probably should be focusing on right now to keep their immune system strong?
Okay. Number one, don't put yourself in a situation where, and because again, if you don't want to get exposed, then don't put yourself in a situation where you are, needlessly exposed to stuff. Okay, because I say, well, it's not the seed, it's the soil, but don't go rubbing seeds all over your face.
Exactly.
You're increasing the chance that something will take root. Now, having said that, that's take your supplements, build your immunity. There's 4 or 5 things that I think everybody should take. Zinc, vitamin C, quercetin, vitamin C. Now they're saying that melatonin helps to produce the activates T cells and helps with that deal. So melatonin, I've never been a fan of melatonin, but they have so melatonin and if you want to take an elderberry or something, a general immune booster, knock yourself out and do it on a regular basis. It's just keep it up, even if there's no COVID, even if there's nothing else. You always want to protect yourself. Keep this inhospitable to the yucky stuff out there. So nothing will take hold. And number, this, the mindset. I am healthy. You got to look at yourself and say, you know what? I am healthy. I feel great. It's amazing. My immune system is amazing. I heal quicker than anybody I know. This is amazing. And you know what? It is amazing. And especially if you talk to yourself, like most people, most people talk to them. You couldn't keep a friend if you talk to somebody else the way you talk to yourself. You know what I mean?
Because I hear it on your Facebook page. That was
the internal dialogue for these people is terrible. Like that is a horrible way to talk to anybody, and least of all yourself. Oh my God, what are you? It's horrible. So talk nicely to yourself. Build yourself up. Like, I don't have anybody build me up. Well, do it yourself. Hey, you're handsome. You're an attractive guy. Even if you might feel like you're not. Talk to yourself. You're amazing. And eventually you're gonna feel the energy of that, and you're gonna stand up straighter. You'll be more confident. All of it.
It's the truth. It's funny. I was listening to that to Napoleon Hill the other day, and he was saying that it was so awesome. He was saying he was trying to come up with a book, his book title, and I think at the time it was he only had 13 ways to be successful or something like that at the time. And the writer, the guy that was publishing his book, he goes, I'm not going to let you use that. And he says, if you don't give me a good topic for your a good title for your book, I'm going to use my own book title. And he goes, well, what was the name of your book title? He goes, use your noodle or your kit and caboodle. And he goes, oh, hell no. He goes, no, I'll come up with. So before he went to bed, this is no joke, before he went to bed that night, he's all, I command my subconscious to give me the best title in the world. So he was literally that night telling his subconscious what to do. He goes, hey, subconscious, you need to give me a title that's going to help people. And he woke up, and that's how he came up with Think and Grow Rich.
Let me tell you something. People think, oh, you have to meditate to talk to your subconscious. You don't have to. Just like that. Hey, subconscious, yes. I want you to do this for me. I want you to do this. And subconscious, come on, man. You you got to come through. You got to do this for me. And when I say it, I immediately, I start feeling a change in my body immediately. Like the other day, I'm like, you know, subconscious, I need you to relax that muscle spasm in my foot because you're awesome. And as I'm doing it, I'm feeling my foot go raw and relax. And it's like, okay, well, that's it. It's gone.
It shows you how live our body really is. It's almost like it's something more than just me. It's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is that it's not only is it more than us, but how powerful our words are. If I were to cut an avocado and put it in one room and put it in another, the other half in another room in a bottle, playing Metallica music all day long, and then I have the other one classical, the one that's Metallica music all day long is all black. It's because
it's oxidized quicker. Yes.
Yes. The energy also. But if I go to the other one and say, I love you, you're beautiful, you were worth
Well,
it.
you know, the water experiments, the Isao Emoto, I think. It was just, he did experiments on water, and one, they played heavy metal, I don't know, Metallica. Some people, I don't want to, but whatever. And then classical music. And then the one that was played classical music, they froze the water and looked at it through a microscope, and it was these amazing, beautiful shapes. And then the other one was all jagged and harsh and ugly looking. So it makes, you know, it's like, if just the energy of that will do, then what your body, you know, your body is 70% water. Yeah.
You know what?
So
that's, I mean, and this is huge. I mean, a lot of people don't like to talk about this, but like, we don't realize like how powerful our words are to people. And that's why we want to be a light to people, a beacon, and encouraging. And it's interesting, not trying to get all religious here, but, you know, I love studying, you know, Jewish literature and stuff like that. And it's so cool. Like when the Hebrews in the book of Genesis, when it said, when God says in Genesis 1:26, he goes, and let us make man in our image. It's so interesting because in the beginning, you see God speaking and let there be light. So you're seeing how his spoken word created something. And then you're seeing we're made in his image. And then we're seeing how we're able to change the molecules, not just in the water, but in the food. So it shows
exactly
how we haven't tapped into something.
What level we are at that we don't know.
So we're talking about the soil. You're talking about the soil, which is awesome. There's so much truth and so much depthness in the soil, because let's think about it. What if we can change the molecules in the soil that has gone bad? Like you said, it's no longer an apple a day. Now it's 4 apples.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying you're onto something.
No, well, I mean, I really, you know, I do believe that. I mean, when you look at it, you know, we are made up in molecules, atoms, but, you know, honestly, the space between, you know, there's a big space between atoms. So basically we're mostly, you know, what's in between the electrons is energy. We're energy. Everything is energy. So,
you know, with
if you want to go there.
It's funny because you're talking about atoms. Okay. And so my brain, it's very systematic the way it is. And because I love to read, and I feel like, and I'm again, not trying to get all biblical and everything, but it's funny how you say atoms. So I'm thinking atom. I'm like, it's funny how everything points to something that is of creation. So it just,
Well, sure. Now, you know, I don't know if you know about Dr. Fleet's work, but he would say is like, if you know, in this world, you have people that are either into science or into religion. Okay. And in science, you believe in the atom, and then you believe that the space, and what is in the space between the atom is energy. So you believe that. And then what is, if you're a religious person, you believe in the spirit, and, you know, basically we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's where you go. It's the same.
Is doing this here and here, and realizing how intertwined they are. You can't take it. It's
yes.
I mean,
but you know, like when you talk to somebody at the top of their field and somebody else at the top of another field,
right,
they understand each other.
True.
These guys down here, oh, they're fighting over silly, stupid stuff. But if you're at the top of your field and you talk to somebody from the top of their field, it's all the same. We speak the same language. You know, like Einstein was very musical, and it was almost like he was an artist, actually. If you he was that at the top of his field. And if you listen to him, when he doesn't talk about, when he talks about things, that could be an artist speaking the same way. That could be, you know, obviously he's a physicist. That could have been a religious person talking the same way. It's all, if you're up here, it's all very similar. You're in the same realm.
It all circles back.
Mm-hmm.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, like you were talking about water, so my mind was going. I'm like, okay. And then the soil. It's just, anyways, but.
So I know I'm off track.
I'm off track too. You know what? It's all good. You know, first we're talking about the immune system, but hey, the funny part about it is, like you said, it all comes back here, and everything we're talking about comes back to the immune system.
Absolutely.
So, but I just want to say thank you so much for being here on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun. It's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
This is the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I think that we people take things so serious, and we've got Hollywood, and you're supposed to be like this and that. And no, it's not like that. It's people going back old school, 50 years ago, Mayberry style, and actually caring about people. You know,
yeah.
That's what it's, you know, really about. And I just, again, want to say thank you so much. But before we sign off, because like I said, I found you by your Facebook posts. What's a good saying you'd like to throw out there? This is off the cuff to people.
Off the cuff, health wise, what do you want?
Anything that pops in your head.
Be true to yourself. Be you, and be unashamedly you. And don't have facades. Just you know, be you. Because you know what? That's what is it that they say is you're an individual, and you're unique, just like everyone else. So
I love it. So hey, when you look in the mirror, make sure you just be you all the way, because hey, if you're ugly, you're ugly. I'm just joking.
Yeah, exactly. Go.
Hey, you gotta embrace it. You go with the best you got, you know. Yeah. You know, but anyways, thank you so much. And
my pleasure.
Internet land, share this video. This is you know, again, just keeping it real. Remember, Edge on Regenerative Medicine show. We bring you the best of the best doctors in their areas and in their niches. God bless you, doctor, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much.